to be more precise. Page 688. My apologies, I just want to check. Yes.
It's the
688, I'm correct.
fifth bullet from the bottom, just above paragraph 6.
Yes. It is area of responsibility, that's paragraph 5. You see that? And yes, Chair, it is the 5th bullet point from the bottom of the listed areas there. And that reads CHC Depot Isipingo Prospection.
Yes, I see it, Commissioner.
So then you've always known that CHC Depot Isipingo Prospection is part of is a licensed depot. It falls under the responsibility of the ORS services at the Durban Harbour. It's their area of responsibility. Or is that an understanding you didn't have?
I didn't have that understanding.
So in the times that you were executing these drug-busted ports and at the Durban port, you didn't know the layout of the Durban port and the areas over which ORS has got responsibility?
Not specifically as indicated in this point 5, Commissioner. No.
What did you know about licensed depots?
Yes, I was aware that they are licensed depots. I couldn't name them, but I knew they were contracted to shipping lines and border police have jurisdiction over them.
So you understood that border police had jurisdiction over licensed depots? You are saying what you did not know specifically at the time is that the CHC depot is one of the licensed depots?
Yes, Commissioner.
When did you make this discovery?
I think when Captain or Lieutenant Colonel Duma was giving his evidence.
When you enter the harbour, are these areas not behind some level of security so that I, Mahlapisi can't just wander in? This is harbour operational areas. They are controlled. And I think Colonel Sanders and Captain Duma testified that you go through security gates. Is that not how it works?
There is a boom gate manned by a security guard, Commissioner.
So it's a controlled environment?
Somewhat, Commissioner.
What do you mean by somewhat?
It's not the most highly secure, yes, but it is controlled. It's controlled.
Now, did you know or do you know that at these depots, that's where sometimes, depending, that these inspections are undertaken?
Yes, I do.
And that sometimes significant seizures are made from these containers?
Yes, I'm aware, Commissioner.
So your testimony to this commission is that all that activity takes place in less than ideal security environments. Is that your testimony?
In some cases, yes, Commissioner.
Okay, now please explain in which cases do you reference?
Like, if I speak specifically about CHC container depot, the depot in itself is not a fortified premises. It's not heavily secured. Except for a boom gate and a security officer manning that boom gate, there's no additional security that I was aware of.
Okay, maybe before I ask my question, what do you mean by fortified?
I use that word, Commissioner, based on your question of the security at these premises. So, I mean, there's nothing that's...
Sorry, Mr. Law said nothing about security.
I didn't.
What Mr. Law said was, so are you suggesting that these operations take place at less than ideal situations?
Okay.
That's
yes,
the question.
Okay, yes, I can say that, Commissioner.
And now testing from your experience, because I take it you're a very experienced colonel and police officer, that would not be an ideal environment to conduct the seizure as you did on the 22nd of June.
I think that's a stretch of it, Commissioner. I would say with the right manpower, with the correct members, the tactical team, you've got enough support in terms of tactical members, then it wouldn't be a risk. But on its own, to me, it's a vulnerable location.
And on the day, why then did it, once you discovered the drugs, did you not stop everything? You did indicate that you were responsible. You took the decision not to cordon off the area as you tell us at your paragraph 21. Why didn't you hold all operations until you had sufficient manpower on the day?
Okay. Commissioners, I think on the day, if I had to explain, there's so many things that's going through your mind. This, firstly, you know, if I had to put it this way, to let the commission know of what thoughts were going through my mind, what thought process I followed. It's my first visit to CHC container depot. The container was removed from a stack of a lot of, like, it was high up on a stack. They brought it down. It took quite a while to even get that container placed.
Looking for a great car insurance deal? Look no further. For quality cover and affordable premiums, get a quote and see how little you could pay.
Photos were taken, the lock was broken, and upon opening the doors, now I'm faced with this magnitude of drugs that we were not expecting. And I look around and I see, okay, there's a container to the right, there's a container to the left. I've got a narrow kind of thoroughfare that I can offload the drugs or unpack bags and lay them out there. However, the area itself was not, it was going to give us a limited space. Even if I did an outer cordon, an inner cordon, that area was not conducive. So my next thought process was, okay, do I now, logistically, do I move this 27 bags to another part of the depot? There would have obviously been another part that would have not been as congested. Do I move it there? But then I look at the logistically, it means us carrying these bags, or how do we move it? Do all our police officers line up and carry it to another place? Do I seal up that container and take the whole container to another workspace? But in my mind, I know the actual crime scene itself is only the container, not the depot itself. So for me, at that stage, I made a decision. I firstly, bearing in mind we didn't have enough bags, the area is small. This is not an offense that required us uplifting physical evidence from the depot. This is not an offense, or the depot itself was not, I wouldn't even say complicit, but they're just an innocent party happened to be in possession of this suspect container at that point in time. If I can give the commission just, to paint a better picture, if this container was at the rear of a truck that was traveling on the N3, and we had information that it had drugs in it, and we pulled over this truck at the side of the N3, do I now say that the side of the N3 is my crime scene and I do an inner and outer cordon there? My point being, I know that's an extreme example, my point being, my actual concern is the crime scene, which is the container. The depot plays no real role in anything, whether I start counting at the depot or whether I do it at a police station, which in my mind is only 4 kilometers away. It's under a 5-minute drive to get there. So I took that decision at that stage based on no bags, based on our situation that we were working in, based on the fact that, like I say, I did not want to unnecessarily prejudice that company. I know these scenes can take hours to process. And where we were at, yes, I could have moved it. But I took that decision based on the distance that Isipingo SAP was away from the CHC depot. 4 kilometers is not a heavy distance. I would say I was more informed to make that decision based on the fact that now we've got uniformed border police guys that are also there. There's 3, me and 2 other members from DPCI. At the back of my mind, I know it's never wise to move exhibits from a scene, but I'm consoling myself by saying to myself that there can never be any question marks or insinuations about the integrity of these exhibits, because I'm now using members that I've never seen before, uniform members in full uniform. We've got a marked police vehicle that can cart the exhibits from the depot to the police station. All of those factors, you know, at once, and I knew in my mind, I knew the Isipingo SAP is going to have exhibit bags. So when we get there, it's going to make putting them in bags, sealing them, all of that much easier, and we enter them into the SAP 13. So that was my thought process, Commissioners, when I made that decision. It's a decision that I will now rue, I think, for the rest of my life. It's something that I will regret. I made that decision on the day based on the factors that I've just explained.
Sorry, I hope I won't interrupt your thought process. I have serious difficulties with that response. The reason is you have given a number of reasons why you considered it not to conduce to a proper operation for you to work where the container was. You've given a number of reasons. And those reasons have nothing to do with the one reason that you do give in your statement at paragraph 21. You give the reason at paragraph 21 towards the end of your substantiation, and it is the only reason you give. But now in response to Advocate Sillo, you give a number of reasons.
Yes.
I have difficulties with that. Yes. Is this not trying to rationalize the situation after the event?
You know, Chair, I take what you are saying.
Because, I mean, if you have so many reasons, surely this is something that you thought about at the time, and something that should also have been uppermost in your mind when you drafted this statement.
Yes.
But it's all of that is simply absent, and you give just one example, and which seems not to be that important to you because you mention it right at the tail end. But it is that one reason that you give in your statement. I don't understand that.
That was my thought process, Chair. You know, there was so yeah. I've got minutes to make a decision that's going to either mean going in one direction and calling the necessary guys out, and maybe there's going to be time constraints for those guys to mobilize. I had a lot of things running through my mind.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah. If at all that was indeed the motivation, but it is not in your statement. All of those are the important reasons, but they are not in your statement.
Yes.
There's the one reason, which when you substantiate now,
Yes.
seems to be something not that important, but it's the only reason that you mention here. That's the difficulty I have.
Yes, I've got no comment to that, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I am aware it's about lunchtime. Can I just close with one question? And then we'll leave this topic and start a new one after lunch. Colonel, so now we've established that CHC depot is a licensed depot. We've established that ORS, Durban Harbour, has full responsibility over that area. Do you accept that?
I do.
And you knew at the time? You knew at the time?
I didn't know specifically CHC was listed as this, but I knew Border Police worked there. Yes.
Okay, but
yes.
when you were at this particular depot carrying out the operation, you knew now you are under the auspices or the jurisdiction of ORS Durban Harbour?
May I give...
No, I just wanted to know if
Okay,
you knew at the time, or did
no,
you think that you were next to
No, you
public
know,
area?
Commissioner, I think my answer to that is I did not think there was any obligation for DPCI now to, I didn't know of this document.
You're not being fair, Colonel. I asked you a simple question. Did you know at the time of the execution of the operation whether you were in the area over which the ORS Durban Harbour had jurisdiction? Did you know that fact?
I knew they worked there. I didn't know they had sole jurisdiction, that they were there.
So if there were any security concerns you may have had, you could have called on them. They are available. They are your members. They are part of SAPS.
Yes, but
Okay.
yes.
Did you call them to come assist?
I called the members that were there, Commissioner. There were two that eventually drove the vehicle, but from my recollection, there were about 4 or 5, maybe even 6, 4 to 6 of them that were at the depot.
Colonel, at this stage, you are a very senior member within SOCIU. If you say that there is that as a jurisdiction of, for ORS Durban Harbour, there's a command structure within SAPS that I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes,
If you need assistance, you know who to turn to.
Yes.
And even that day, you knew who to turn to. I would take it you talk to the harbour commander or somebody. You just don't talk to random police members that you see walking past. Surely you don't.
No, in fact, Commissioner, they radioed their commander to inform him that they were going to assist with regards to conveying exhibits to Isipingo SAP.
Okay, we will get there after lunch, but my question is your
Yes.
conduct and your decision. You never called ORS commander.
No, I did not.
So would I be correct then to say the moving to Isipingo had nothing to do with security and had nothing to do with the fact that Umlazi was 11 kilometers from your work area? That was not relevant to your decision at the time.
No, I disagree with that,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Chair, it's 10 past
Yes.
1. I've eaten
Yeah,
a bit into
just-
that hour.
Thank you. For the record, let me just indicate what the one reason you give is. You say, paragraph 21, I did not want to prejudice the company by closing them down for the rest of the day as they were not suspects in the matter. Yeah, I just mentioned that you had one reason. For the record, I just want to state that reason. I'm not asking for a comment. Thank you. Let's
Thank you, Chair.
adjourn and come back at 10 past.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over. Monday.com is super
Looking for a great car insurance deal? Look no further. For quality cover and affordable
Good afternoon, all. It is 14:09. We are ready to resume. Please switch off your devices. Make sure they're quiet. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Afternoon, Colonel. If you could just have your mics ready.
Good
Thank you,
afternoon,
Colonel.
Commissioners.
Colonel, I would like now to turn to the day of the seizure. That's the 22nd of June, 2021. You start with that at page 11, at paragraph 11, on page 2 of your statement. You see that?
Yes, I do.
And you indicate that you had received information from Captain Duma of Crime Intelligence, and you describe the nature of the information. You then indicate, I called Mbangase after the call from Captain Duma. He indicated that he would brief Brigadier, now you have clarified Nuswa, accordingly. I asked him to inform the Brigadier that I was booking on duty to attend to the scene, or to the same. Yes. You were officially on leave from the 10th of June till the 30th of June, is that correct?
May have been the 10th, but not till the 30th. It was the 28th probably, because I was back at work on the 29th of June.
Okay, we'll cross-check that.
Yes.
But it's official leave and it's loaded onto the SAP system.
That is correct,
So
Commissioner.
as far as the system is aware, you are not working as a qua policeman during that time.
Yes, Commissioner, that's
Now,
correct.
you say here, I asked him to inform him that I was booking on duty. Can you explain to the commissioners how that happens? The system books you off, you are not there. How do you get to attend operations during that time? Do you require approval by your senior? And is it possible that your senior may refuse to grant approval, and what would the effect of that be?
Okay.
Or, if I can just conclude, or is it entirely up to you to decide when during your leave you are back on duty and you are off on duty, from duty again?
Okay. My understanding, Commissioners, is when you're on leave, you're on leave. However, a policeman, if there's an exigent or some
Work today is broken. We're all working in too many disconnected apps, and it's killing team productivity. But for the first
obligated to act, so I would have needed my commander to grant approval for me to resume duty or to book on duty and to conduct this operation.
Would your commander require an explanation as to why you must be booked back on duty, if it's not an urgent matter?
Yes, he would.
So now when you say you asked Warrant Officer Mpanga said to inform him that you are booking on duty,
Yes.
you were not seeking his permission. You were saying inform him that I'm back on duty, effectively.
Okay, it's a play with words, but yes, I hear you, Commissioner. In fact, I'm supposed to request authority to book on duty.
So is your correct testimony that you asked Warrant Officer Mpanga said to request on your behalf from Brigadier Nuswa that you be back on duty for the 22nd to attend to this operation?
That would be
Okay,
correct.
is that what you meant?
That's what I meant, Commissioner.
Now, and it's acceptable in SAPS and the PCI that you do that verbally. You don't have to make a formal request.
Yes,
It's not
it is.
recorded anywhere that it has happened.
There is record of it. Probably your commander will make a pocket or diary entry to that effect. You as the subordinate would also make an entry to that effect, booked on duty. Maybe who did you inform, that type of thing. So it does happen in exceptional circumstances.
You remember that before we broke for lunch, we looked at your investigation diary, CJC 268, your handwritten diary that you helped us work through to understand.
Yes.
Would this not be a matter that is supposed to be reflected in the investigation diary?
Not necessarily in the investigation diary, Commissioner.
So it is reflected only in your commander's personal diary?
I would say in his diary, as well as informing our HRM, our persons that are in charge of leave and that sort of thing. So I think that would also be pertinent. And the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes members ask for the time due back at some point in time. So there must be official record thereof.
So are you suggesting perhaps Brigadier Nyuswa is the only one who can shed light on this to advise whether or not he informed HR and there was a formal record of you being back on duty?
No, it wouldn't be up to him to inform HR, Commissioner, because he sits at a different office. My HR person is at my building. So I would inform my HR person and make a photocopy of my diary as to what did I book on duty for and what were my duties for that day. And that would be stored in a time due register or a file that if you needed that time at some point in time, you can request it.
Did you do so on this day?
I didn't request that time back. But
No, did you file the documentation that you just referenced? with HR?
no, I didn't file it. I just made a diary entry.
Why didn't you file it with HR for record purposes?
I didn't want to take that time back, Commissioner. It was not something that was a necessity for me.
It's time you're entitled to pay for. Why don't you want it back?
I was on leave for that period, and I worked for, I think I left home just after 7 maybe, or 8, around there. I'm not sure. I got back in the afternoon sometime, I would think even before 4. So I wasn't really concerned about that time. In fact, if I may go further to add, I love my job. You know, I look forward to working. It gives me a thrill to do a drug bust or any operation. And maybe if I may go further, Commissioners, with your indulgence, when I looked at my diary, even I see on the 22nd of March this year, as recent as that, I had come back from a vacation in Margate and still on vacation leave. And one of my SANEB guys called me to assist to execute a search warrant where the occupant was only at home for certain periods, for an hour at a time. So every time my members went out, they were missing him. So at this point in time, it was a Sunday. I had just arrived from Margate, and he's a captain now, I won't mention his name, gave me a call to say he's trying for his SANEB members, and they're going to take a while to mobilize because none of them were in the area. And he asked me, and my name's always on every search warrant they do, because I'm very operational. So he asked me to come through and assist. So I went there, we intercepted the guy before he could leave, and the members joined maybe about 45 minutes later. So my point in relaying the story is that it's not out of the ordinary in our line of work to book on duty, whether you're on leave or it's a weekend or whichever. Thank you.
Civic duty.
Yes, yes, Commissioner.
Now,
You make the time you participated in this operation to be minimal. Based on what you say, it was actually a whole day.
Yes,
It was a whole day.
Yes, it was. Yes.
No, I just want to clear that because
Yes.
you sounded as if you were making it very minimal.
Sorry, Chair. Yes, and I still proceeded to be on vacation leave thereafter. You know,
I get
yes,
that.
okay,
I'm just
yes.
talking about this one
Yes.
day.
No, you're correct, sir.
Can I ask one question on this topic? Because you were on leave, the decision you make to book yourself for the purposes of doing this, why did you not assign it to somebody in your team who was equally capable of assisting? Why did it have to be you?
Commissioner, it's not every day that you get an opportunity to participate in an operation where you're stopping or you're inspecting a container that's suspected to contain drugs. It's something that, for me, it was something that was worth going to work for, to obviously check this information out.
My difficulty with that is that if you look at your entry, at this point, all you knew that it was 27 kilograms,
Yes.
just one bag. So it was not something that was so significant that you needed to break away from your leave and be the one who attends even a junior officer or somebody in your team who is capable of attending a bust of 27 kilograms could have done that. We subsequently learned that it was more, but
Yes.
at the time when you took the decision, you were told that it's 27 kilograms.
Okay.
So I don't understand why it was so important for you to say, I'm on leave, but I will participate.
Okay, I've got a response, Commissioner. We only became aware of the number that Captain Duma, at that stage, Captain Duma, the number of kilos that he suspected was only relayed to us when we reached Isipingo and did a briefing prior to proceeding towards CHC. We proceeded to Isipingo area where my two members, together with myself, met with Captain Duma. It's only then that he told us it was 27 kilograms, Commissioner.
Yeah, but
Can
you keep changing that, to fit with the timeline. I had understood that when they called you, you were at home, they gave you this information, they came to pick you up. Now you are saying you only found out when you arrived at the depot that it was 27 kilograms.
Not the depot, Commissioner. Prior to the depot, maybe it's here in my statement somewhere. I'll look at it. I'll tell you which paragraph.
Paragraph 13.
Paragraph 13. We met with Captain Duma in the Isipingo area. He informed us that there were alleged to be 27 pieces of cocaine in a container number, and I go on to name the container.
Now you see, it's 27 pieces and 27 kilograms, because I'm reading from your investigation diary on page 800. 27 pieces, I thought it's something different.
No,
Because here you say, information received from CI was that a container containing plus minus 27 kilos.
Okay.
And then you, yeah.
Yes. Where are we reading that from, Commissioner?
CJC
Yes.
268 at page 800. That is your investigation diary.
Okay, all right.
The first entry.
Yes. Okay, Commissioner, this entry is made by Warrant Officer Mpangase, right? He lists information received from CI was that a container containing plus minus 27 kilos of the drug cocaine was kept at Isipingo. So I'm not sure what time he made it, but he made it on the 22nd of the 6th. And 22nd of the 6th is when I became aware it was 27 kilos, or units, pieces or units, only when I proceeded with them to Isipingo and we did a briefing initially with Captain Duma. That's when the quantity that was alleged to be within the container was indicated to us.
So as far as you are concerned, when you decided to get away from your leave, it could even have been 5 kilograms because...
Yes, it could have.
That's why I still don't understand your decision that I'm on leave, but I will participate. Okay. Other team members will not participate. I will do it.
If I can just pick it up from there, and that is my challenge. Because according to your investigation diary, that was the first entry you read. The first entry gives you the weight, it gives you a container number.
Yes.
It's the second entry read thus.
Yes.
Myself, Lieutenant Colonel Jacob, Warrant Officer Sibia from Durban DPCI, together with CI member proceeded to Isipingo Prospection Warehouse. You see that?
Yes, I see.
So from this document, it appears the information was there before you even got to the harbor.
Yes, Commissioner. I think maybe Warrant Officer Pangas just got it mixed up because, Commissioner, with all due respect, if you look at every statement, every document in this inquiry, nothing reflects otherwise.
Okay, let me ask this question. At the time you received the call, before you were picked up from home at 7,
Yes.
please summarize the information you had received.
Yes. Okay, at that stage when Captain Duma had called, he reminded me that, you remember I told you there's something coming on a container. It's at Isipingo, I think he did tell me, but he didn't give me quantity. And I told him I'm on vacation leave. He didn't have to insist that much. I was wanting to go, honestly. So when he told me there's this information that we should meet, he's spoken to Mpangase, and that we should meet at Isipingo. Then I told him, okay, I'll talk to Mpangase. I'll ask him I need to book on duty, but I will come through. So it was only when we proceeded to Isipingo, even in the vehicle, Pangase never knew the amount, according to me, because we didn't discuss any of that, even Colonel Spear. None of us knew the quantity until, or me personally, I'm talking for myself, none of that was discussed. It was only when Captain Duma met us in Prospecton, prior to going to CHC depot, we met at some garage, that he briefed us on the container number together with the alleged quantity of narcotics within that container.
So technically, when you decided to book yourself on duty, you can't say it was because it was at the prospect of a large drug seizure, because you had absolutely no idea as to size.
No, I didn't have any idea.
You just booked yourself on because it was a drug bust, a potential drug bust.
Because, yes, and more especially a container was involved, Commissioner.
And what's the relevance of a container?
You
being
don't get
involved?
a container inspection or information pertaining to a container every day. It's something that rarely happens. I know between 2020 and 2022, we had a lot of those, but prior to that and even subsequent after that, these are very few and far between. It's not every day that you get one of these busts.
I don't understand, because at paragraph 14, you are the one who introduced the notion of rip-on, rip-off load. And that view you formed immediately upon seeing the container, and then overleaf you then describe this modus operandi. And I read all you have set out there.
Yes.
As deriving from your experience, that with these containers, you know the rip-on, rip-off modus operandi. So now you are saying you were excited because it's a container.
Yeah.
But at 14, 15, it sounds like you have had experience in rip-on, rip-off operations involving containers. So, unless I'm misunderstanding you.
Yes, once again, Commissioner, I've been to a few, but I'm saying it's not every day like catching a street dealer or somebody, a drug dealer that we've been targeting. This is something that's coming from another country. It's a commodity that's originated from there. There's a little more, it's more satisfying when you seize or are involved in an operation of this nature. So.
Okay.
So can I please ask a slightly different question? I understood you to say earlier that your commander was, I think, Colonel Domo.
Yes.
So why do you speak to Nuswa instead of your immediate commander that you are booking onto duty?
Okay. Commissioner, I'm going to try and say this with no disrespect to the Colonel Glomo. Colonel Glomo had come back on a contract to work within the SAPS. It's those members that went off at 60, and then there was an opportunity to come back on a contract. And the Colonel was not very much au fait with operational matters or anything of that nature. It's by virtue of her rank and seniority that she was acting unit commander. And at that stage, they were rotating maybe on a 2-week basis. I can't recall, but there was not somebody placed there permanently or for a longer duration that now you could engage with and keep them posted on your developments. So it was wrong. I should have contacted her, but she was not one of those colonels that was hands-on with operations or anything of that nature. It was understood that anything of operational nature would be discussed with our brigadier, or he would be the one to give you guidance or whatever you needed. Thank you.
Except here, according to you, you didn't speak to Colonel Nuswa. You sent Mpangase, Warrant Officer Mpangase, to do that. So you're not discussing anything operational with Nuswa.
Yes.
You actually just sent somebody to say, just brief him or whatever, that I'm coming on to duty. So that can't be, what you've just said now can't explain why you skip your immediate commander. And remember that in your earlier evidence you said you must inform your immediate commander. So Nuswa is not your immediate commander. Still the question is, why do you not comply with the requirement that if you're signing on back to duty in these circumstances, you speak to your commander, you inform your commander. That's, if you would answer that first, actually.
Yes. Commissioner, I've got no valid reason for not doing so. It was an error on my part.
Okay. And even with Nuswa, you don't speak to him. You get a warrant officer, someone much junior to you, that you get him to be the one that tells that senior person, Nuswa, that you are coming back on duty instead of you reporting yourself to be back on duty. Can you just explain, because it is an anomaly?
Yes.
What
Your email is your first online impression. Make it count. With GoDaddy Email, you get a...
He's going to brief the brigadier. I assumed he's going personally to him to brief him. And I know in the mornings is the time that our brigadier normally is engaged with whatever duties he does. But that being said, I thought Pangase was going to have a one-on-one and inform him what's happening. But even though it's not stated in my statement, the brigadier did remind me that I did call him, even prior to when I first allude to in my statement, where I say that was at Isipingo parking area that I called him. And
That's not my question. My question is, when you send Mpangase to brief Nuswa that you are coming back on duty, why do you send Mpangase? You have his number. You have Nuswa's number, I must assume.
yes,
The requirement, as you explain it, is you tell your commander, right? We've established you don't tell your commander. You speak to somebody else who is above your commander. But the second question that I'm asking you now is, well, why do you not speak to Nuswa yourself to report yourself back on duty? Because you're reporting back on duty, right? Why do you not do that?
I can't give you an answer, Commissioner, but if Pangase, he did give me feedback that the brigadier said it's okay. But if...
Maybe he lied. My concern is not what Mpangase said to you. My concern is to get a satisfactory explanation for this obvious irregularity. It's an obvious irregularity. You are on leave, one. So the context matters. You are on leave. You get a call to be told there are these drugs. You don't speak to your commander to say, I'm signing on to duty. You don't speak to your commander, you skip your commander. You speak to Nuswa that eventually there are problems, his involvement with this eventually. But you don't speak to your commander. You send a warrant officer, someone junior to you, to speak to Nuswa. You knew he was not going to talk to your commander. You send him to speak. When he says, I'll speak to the brigadier, you say, you knew he was going to speak to Nuswa because your commander was on and off, and it was known that you speak to Nuswa about matters operational. So we know you never were under any impression that Mpangase was going to speak to your commander. You knew he's going to speak to Nuswa. And all I'm asking you is, why do you not call Nuswa yourself? Now that you've decided the person to speak to is Nuswa, not Lomo, why do you not call him yourself?
I've got no response to that, Commissioner. I should have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi.
On that,
Oh, yes, Chair.
thank you. On the reason that you give about your immediate commander, which is that she was not involved in operational matters, I will not accept that at face value. You are on leave, and all that you needed to do was to report that I'm coming back. I'm no longer going to be on leave, just for this limited period. I see nothing operational in that. That's admin. I see you nodding your head, so you agree with me. That's pure admin.
Yes.
So basically, you have not responded to Commissioner Baloyi's question.
Yes, Chair. I should have. It was an error on my part. I should have.
So you accept that you did not do what you had to do, and you basically had no reason for not doing it. This thing about operational simply does not apply.
I concede.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So now we know that you and Warrant Officer Mpangase are now aware of this potential operation, and you decide to attend to the scene, correct?
Yes, correct.
Would I be correct to say, technically, the DPCI operation has started, or not yet?
At which point, Commissioner?
Once you decide you are going to CHC depot, to follow up on the information given by Captain Duma of Crime Intelligence?
For me, I would say once I was fetched by my members, it would have commenced. For me, that's when my duty would have commenced.
No, not duty. I want to know, when does the operation, in your understanding?
Yes, in my understanding, the operation is actually at the scene where you're operationalizing this intelligence. So for me, the operation would have commenced upon our arrival at CHC depot.
May I suggest that it has to be before, because, firstly, as to who turns up to follow up on the information is a decision that must be taken.
Yes.
And that decision must be based on a purpose.
Yes.
Right? And that is the start of the operation. It can't be when you all arrive and then you say the operation commences. That's not how you run operations. I would like to believe that even in this PCI, when you decide to move from your offices to a particular place in pursuit of something or intelligence received, you are already in an operation. Do you have a difficulty with that proposition?
No, I agree with you.
Okay. Now, accepting then that this is what happened here, you are the most senior.
Yes.
Am I correct at the time?
That's correct.
You are in charge of this, and I'll put it in inverts, if you are more comfortable, quote-unquote operation.
Yes.
Who decides the team to carry out this operation?
In this instance, it was myself.
It was you.
Yes.
Now, so you decided to involve Warrant Officer Mpangazo. Was that, do you say that decision was already made for you?
That decision was made already by Captain Duma.
Did you have any power to override it?
If I wanted to, yes, they would have been.
Okay. And then who's the next member of your team?
It was at that stage Warrant Officer Spear.
And that was your choice. He was your choice.
Yes, he was.
Was he also chosen by, and I say chosen in inverts, by Captain Duma, or was that your personal choice?
That was my choice, Commissioner.
And on what basis was that? Why did you decide on him that he is the best person suited for this operation?
Okay. If my memory serves me correctly, when Pangase called me, when I called Pangase and he had informed me that Duma had already spoken to him.
Yes.
At that stage, we knew we were going to operationalize this. And Pangase was at that stage going around the office, checking who's around. So I'm not sure what he had said to me. I'm not sure, I can't really recall, but I asked him, check if KG is there, KG Sibia. Just for the purpose of, manpower, and we have our colleagues that somehow we tend to choose. Obviously, if there's 10 members and you only require 3, I'm just saying, you will choose those that you have worked with before, that you've got a good understanding with. So there wasn't that much thought behind it, but just put somebody that you normally work with and you've got a good understanding with.
And also, it wasn't made on the basis that you appreciated this is a potential drug bust, that, do you say it's Warrant Officer Sibia?
Yes.
Warrant Officer Sibia potentially brings some expertise in that regard. That is not the basis of your decision?
No.
You just thought of a name and you decided he'll join?
He's competent enough, although he was not a fundi in drug cases, he's a detective.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you know you're going to the depot, which is around the harbor area. Earlier, in response, I think, to a question posed by the chair, you made reference to joint operations, and you spoke of the involvement of SARS.
Yes.
Did you at that time consider this to be potentially a joint operation or not?
No, not at all at that stage, Commissioner. No.
At that stage, you didn't?
No.
Okay. So if it wasn't a joint operation, then it was a pure DPCI operation?
Yes, 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 and DPCI and crime intelligence.
And crime intelligence, yes, your source. Did it at any juncture become a joint operation in your understanding?
We
And if so, under what circumstances?
okay, I'm using the term loosely joint operation, but whilst on the scene, we requested assistance from border police. So I don't know whether technically we can define it. I don't think it's a joint operation because they were not briefed, they were not expected to be of assistance to us. So I wouldn't call it a joint operation.
So it really was never a joint operation?
No, it was not.
I would like you to jump to your paragraph 18. And there is a statement you make at paragraph 18 that I want to make sure I don't misunderstand. You see, the paragraph that starts upon inspection of one of the bags, okay?
Yes.
The third sentence in that paragraph reads, there were other border police cargo operations team unit, inspection unit, uniform members at the depot that were inspecting other containers. Do you see that?
Yes, that's correct.
Were these people, I'm trying to understand why you make the statement here. Yeah. Were they part of your operation, or you are just mentioning police teams that were at the depot doing their own jobs, inspecting other containers? I'm not sure I understand that statement.
Okay, but I just wanted to describe how did the border police come about to assist or to convey exhibits, these drugs to the police station, and it was upon my request.
So they were part of your operation?
Eventually they were part of it after me requesting assistance, more especially in terms of transporting exhibits from point A to point B.
Now, if we go to CJC 268, perhaps maybe I'm slow in understanding. At page 801 of that exhibit, perhaps let's start at 800, at point 4 at the bottom. So I start the point at the beginning. The container was properly closed and locked, the seal intact. The seal was broken and the container was opened in the presence of supervisor of the warehouse. I take it that is Ms. Pile?
Yes.
Customs official Ntutuko Kuzwayo. You see that?
Yes, I see that.
ORS members, Sergeant Mkize and Sergeant Govender, and 27 black canvas bags were observed placed right at the end of the something commodity, just behind the container doors.
Cargo.
Cargo commodity. Thank you, Chair. Cargo/commodity. You see that?
Yes, I see that, Commissioner.
The people listed here, did they just happen to be around, or were they part of this particular operation? Because when I read the investigation diary, it sounds like they were part of your operation and officially there to witness the breaking of the seal. And here in your statement you say that they were inspecting other containers. So I'm trying, are they here by chance? Are they here as part of an operation? Where do we land?
You know, Commissioners, if memory serves me correctly, they were not present when the actual container was placed, when the photos were taken of it, the lock being cut open. According to my memory of that day, they were not present for that. They were not present for that. It's only after us discovering this 27 bags that it piqued interest around the warehouse, and I think even they walked towards the area, and that's how it came about that I asked for assistance.
So Warrant Officer Mpangase is wholly wrong in what he has recorded in this investigation diary.
I stand to be corrected, but my memory tells me that the border police guys just came a short while after discovering the narcotics, the black canvas bags.
Now, you recall earlier we discussed the issue of monthly, quarterly inspection. And you referred me to the statements you had obtained during your investigation. And you said that those statements have got a date attached to them, and that will at least demonstrate to the commissioners that these entries were not effected post-fact, okay?
Yes.
Now, I looked at this, and in fact, when I look at the inquiry,